I think we're live. What is up, dudes? Hold on. I have to dismiss the ad that YouTube is giving me to give you ads. Like you should really be running an ad right now. Oh, should I? Oh, should I? God. Oh, YouTube. What's up, Monty? Yeah, doing okay this week. A lot of news this week. What's up, Ian, Martian Murray, Richard, Matt, Bill, Yeti Motzi, Trolls, and RM, Tim, Jeff, Uncle Deffy, Demon. I got the plumber's jeans. What's up, Gus? We got John. We got Shammy Whammy. Super Lead. What's up, Speaker? Got Eric. Got Matt. Dennis. Was Dr. Love an Ace riff? I thought that was a Gene, but it could be Gene and Ace. What's up, Evil Jesus? Got Monty and Bill. James. Meister Courtesy. What's up, Patty, in the chat? And JMT builds. And Badass Diving Frog. Such a great tune. One of their heaviest tunes. What's up, Christopher? And Retro Puffer. And John and Jonathan. And Mark. What's up, Salty? What's up, Braxel? Rico? Yeah, it sucks to get older. The immutable passage of time. There's the Space Ace makeup. You know, I never did that, but I know so many of my friends that did. They did the full Kiss makeup and everything, but I never did it. Not even for Halloween, which is crazy. I mean, I'm old enough to remember their appearance on the Paul Lynde Show. Everybody say hello to Kiss. Oh, Paul. Where's that witch? Get her out here. Right, he had the witch from The Wizard of Oz. She was the other special guest. It was Kiss. And God, Paul Lynde was the best. And they do Firehouse, probably. And it was that was so I found out about Kiss the way a lot of kids found out about bands. You know, I'm sure my mom took off to go like into the boring clothing department at like Sears or Bradley's or Leachmere or, you know, insert whatever department store, because department stores were such a thing. And so we'd go to a department store and we would take off to the, I think it was in Bradley's. And we were in the record section. And you got time to kill until your mom, we'll be in the records, okay. Went over there. And we're just going through the albums, looking through at all the album covers. And it ran into Kiss. That's probably 9. Right? Like 1975. 10 years old. And I run into Kiss on the, you know, in the bin. I'm like, what the hell is this? Jackie. I'm calling him as Jackie. Look at this. Seeing this? These maniacs. So, so we get just sort of a, you know, that there's a band named Kiss, but I have no idea of any of their songs. And then it was pretty soon after that. I want to say, again, it's probably 1976. They have a single with Christine 16. And I get the single. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was 77. And it was for, and maybe it was Love Gun. Now, I remember earlier, and I remember Beth. Because I was like, I remember hearing it, Beth, and I had heard the song on the radio. I said, oh my God, that's Kiss? But you knew Rock and Roll All Night, right? So you sort of know, you start to figure out the songs. But the first time I saw them was probably in 75, and just going through the bin and running across them. And being like, who the hell is this? Like, this is unlike any other band in here. And sort of piqued, you know, the interest. And then the appearance on the Paul Lynde Show. I think that's 76. And then I get the single for Christine 16. I get the 45. And then my first Kiss album was definitely Christmas of 77. And that was Kiss Alive 2. Which has that killer solo and Shock Me, right? Just like this unbelievable, you know, he's going like, he's doing squeals. And I'm going, oh my God, I had never heard that before. You know, you remember in, 1977, I've already been playing guitar for 5 years. I'm kind of familiar with guitar players, but they're not playing like that. You know, And he's doing the, you know, he's getting the friggin' feedback, which I had never really heard before. And I was like, oh my god, that's I really like that. Right, that really. I'm like, I didn't even know a guitar could sound like that. Remember, Eddie Van Halen isn't even out yet. You know, Eddie Van Halen's not even a thing yet. Eddie Van Halen takes a lot of what I hear when I go back and I listen to that solo, and I realize that it predates Van Halen by a year or two. You know, you realize how much Eddie kind of took from Ace. And his playing, the pick squeals, the long bends, the, you know, the sort of blues-based chops, tapping, you know. He was doing all kinds of, I mean, Eddie took it to another level, but Ace was doing the tapping stuff, you know. So I definitely think, I mean, just listen to Christine 16, and which the Van Halen brothers played on the demo for Gene. You can hear it in the drumming. I mean, that's freaking Alex all day long. And when they get to the studio, they just recreate what the Van Halen brothers had done. Right? They don't really change the demo much in the final thing. So you can hear it in the style of drums, you know, the Van Halen influence. And, you know, Jamie's Crying is pretty much their version of the same tune, right? As Christine 16. Yeah, I get Kiss Alive too. And then, of course, there's... which I loved. That they have a studio side on that live album. Right, the fourth side is all studio tunes, and that Rocket Ride, really, I thought that was the best tune on the side. And I thought the other one with Gene had a tune. That was the start of the breakup. Right? Don't kid yourself. The fourth side of that album, where all those tunes are pretty much solo album tunes, right? Oh no! It starts. The fissures are there. You know, by the fourth side of that friggin' album, and so I get the Kiss Alive 2, and then I think I got Rock and Roll Over, which I have to say is just some of the greatest cover art. They hired a graphic artist, and he just did a spectacular job. They commissioned a graphic artist to come up with the cover, and he did a wonderful job. You got to admit. Let's take a quick look at the. Yeah, right there. Just of course they have a tiny image of it, but a great album cover. I'm sure I was drawn by the album cover, and this is the one with is it? Or is that on the one with Parasite? Is that on... I can't even remember the friggin'... It's definitely not on the first album. Is it on the second album? with Parasite, because they wanted to sell it to what's his name, Rod Stewart, and he was not a taker. He said, no thanks. Yeah, Rock and Roll Over, wonderful, wonderful album. So can we go to Kiss? Oh. Discography? Oh yeah, there you go. How big is that? Pretty small. How about here? Yeah. Well, here's the early ones. Yeah, Hotter Than Hell. Here we go. Thank you. Let's go to a friggin' eBay ad. So the original one. So on this original cover, Ace, before showing up to the shoot, spray paints his hair silver, which, you know, to be more a spaceman. And, well, it's probably not advisable to use spray paint in your hair. The band admired his commitment, as the story goes, to actually spray paint his hair. They come out with Hotter Than Hell, and they're still not doing so great. And then Dressed to Kill. They're kind of on the verge of maybe getting dropped by the label, or putting the label out of business, right? It's canceled Micro Records, which feels like it was just pulled out of the ass of, you know, Bill Aucoin and a few people. And but then Alive comes out, and as the story goes, you know, with the single of Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day, and the success of this album pretty much propels them. This is like huge. This album does okay, but believe it or not, at the time, now when we look back, Destroyer feels like, you know, like one of their, like their Sgt. Pepper, one of their landmark albums. At the time, it was a little bewildering to some people, because they were real rock, just straight up ahead rock on these first three albums, as the Kiss Alive sort of shows, right? When you get here, you have songs like Beth, and they're like, I don't know if I like this, right? There's a few crowds. They thought God of Thunder with the little kids' voices was kind of too jokey, right? So there's a little bit weird. Now when we look back at it, we say it's one of their masterpiece albums, right? But at the time, in real time, there was some harumphing going on about Destroyer. Then, of course, Rock and Roll Over, the killer album cover. Love Gun, another great album cover. I mean, they're really hitting it. You know, these first three album covers, you know, not the, I mean, this is them. Never forget that as much as Paul will deny it, he always wanted to be the Beatles, right? Paul and Gene are hugely influenced by the Beatles, and they have a number of album covers with just their faces on it, right? The four guys. It's very much a Beatles sort of thing. Love Gun, killer album cover. Just like really, really well done. This is my first album, Kiss Alive 2. And then, of course, Double Platinum comes out. I'm all hot to get their next album. And it's like Double Platinum followed by the 4 solo records. We don't get a new album until for 79, which is Dynasty. And, you know, there was some pent-up demand. And in Dynasty, because of the look of the 4, you know, Kiss, you know, the album covers. Let me see if I can bring this up. Oh, come on. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah. Here we go. I found a poster online that sort of breaks it down. It's all their records. Here we go. So if you go here, right, Rock and Roll Over Kiss Alive 2. This is the beginning of the end right here. All right, I'm telling you, the 4th side of this album was the harbinger of doom. Out come the 4 studio albums. Paul's Gene's and Peter's were not as heavy as I think people had expected them to be. They weren't, especially Peter's. There wasn't a ton of like real heavy rock going on there. And people were like, is this band like living a lie? Like when they're given the chance to make their own music, they're doing much more lighter fare. The only ones that was pretty heavy was Ace's. Of all the studio albums, it wasn't even close. Ace's was just light years beyond what the other guys had done. I mean, just think of his big single was what? Radioactive? He's radioactive. I mean, come on, dude. It's not. It was pop. It was not a rock really. It's straight up pop, and they paid dearly for it at the time, I feel. So now it's 1979. These come out in 78, right? So 77. Hold on. So 77 for Kiss Alive 2. 78, you get these and double platinum. So I'm dealing with the greatest hits and 4 solo records. Then the record stores did not want these. They thought it was a vanity project. And they thought they would wind up in the cutout bins, and they were right about that. Except for Ace's. Again, Ace's was really, he's the only one that had a real radio hit, with New York Groove, which is a cover, but still, he does a great version, and, it sounded, it made the radio way more than anyone else. Out comes Dynasty. It's got a wonderful Stones cover, 2000 Man, that Ace does. And, they trot out I Was Made for Loving You, which ironically has been used in so many movies recently. That song, I Was Made for Loving You, has got so much commercial appeal. It's one of their most enduring songs. But at the time, we were like, are you really getting into disco in 1979? I mean, it kind of peaked in 78. It's sort of waning. By 80, disco is like completely over. And they're like, yeah, let's jump on the disco train. They come out with Unmasked, which felt like a bit of a pity party, right? I still say they stink. And when I saw them, they were like, now the critics are going to tell you that Kiss sucks and therefore you suck. I'm like, Paul, will you just, man, you are a hurt man. Come on, Paul. But, and again, you get songs like Shandy, which is just straight up friggin' pop. They wind up getting in with the producer of The Wall. And he goes, I'll tell you what's up right now, boys. I'll tell you what's up right now. Concept albums. So they take the bait. They come up with a concept album. There's it's a point of debate in the community about whether this album totally sucks ass or is totally awesome. I feel the answer lies somewhere in between. But their most controversial album, it's not even close. Again, they hooked up with the producer of The Wall. But as some would say, there's only one wall. It's hard to reproduce that magic. They finally get their shit together, and they come out with, of course, they lose Peter, right, by I think the elder. I think even is he still on the books here? Maybe just not playing with them. But we've moved on to Eric Carr, and they've actually moved on to Vinnie Vincent, and Ace just shows up for the photo shoot. This album actually kicks ass. It's like one of their best. What a comeback album! I mean, really. Just an absolute comeback album. Boy, they're missing a bunch here. The other one I would think of would be Revenge. That was a huge album for them, too. That's early 90s. I'm not seeing it here. Am I? I don't think so. Animalize. That's a box set. That's a Live 4. That's Sonic Boom and Monster. right? This is their reunion, 96. So, you know, I always felt like at that point, by the time they get there, it's kind of time to take the makeup off. And they did, you know, to their credit. They weren't a slave to the whole costume and makeup thing. And in fact, I saw them once in the makeup with Vinnie Vincent. And I was like, didn't have my glasses. I was so blind I didn't even realize it wasn't Ace. But I could tell, I go, geez, Ace has switched from all friggin' Les Pauls. He played nothing but Jackson Rhodes guitar, you know, Randy Rhodes guitars tonight. That's crazy. Wow. But, of course, I'm so far away I can't see. And they don't have cameras back then with giant screens. So I was just like, I guess that's Ace. But I should have known. We were so far away, and I was so blind. But not blind enough to not see Paul fall down a staircase. Those platform shoes. Like, he took a header. And, yeah, it was bad. And, so that was with the makeup. That was 83. And I went on that tour, they were selling out so bad, right? They could not get sales. They couldn't get asses and seats by 83. That the show I was at was one of the most packed shows because they canceled the Providence show and you had to show up at Worcester with your friggin' ticket to see the Kiss in Worcester, which is the show I had bought my tickets for. And so the seats were kind of full because you just showed up and they would just assign you somewhere. And it was crazy, but they combined the two shows to one venue. So I was at one of the more, because they literally canceled the other one because ticket sales were so poor. So I see them with him, and then I don't see them for, I think they're out on tour in like 84 for Lick It Up and 85, and I thought we were going to go see Mark St. John, but he wasn't. He was already off the tour. Did not get to see Mark St. John, and Bruce Kulick was playing, and they played at I want to say it was the Springfield Civic Center or something like that, and that was a good show. Wasp opened up, and kind of open floor general seating. It was a mad rush to get in there, and I just remember seeing them again in, could have been 86 or 87, and they blew a big line of power. And man, I didn't think they were going to play. They had all kinds of problems, but they wound up coming out with almost no lights. So they just used all the power to get the amps going. Oh, it was a tough night for Kiss. Real tough night. But they sludged through. They were like, you know, the bottom line is no refunds. And around that time, I guess that would have been, so it had to be after 86. Yeah, it was after 86. It was between 86 and like 88 or 89. Frehley's Comet was coming around, right? And there was this kid who used to come into the music store who was like a huge Ace Frehley fan. And, you know, but a bit of a dumb shit. And he's like so into Ace Frehley, he goes and sees him, and I think Ace might be playing like, it would have been bigger than the Paradise. I think he was playing like the Channel, you know, something like that. He was playing a club in Boston. It could have been Avalon, right, which is like a 2,500 seater. But he's there with, you know, he was either that or the Channel. And after the show, he goes, yeah, he goes, after the show, he goes, we just, followed their bus. I go, to where? He goes, all the way back to like New York City. Because we like literally followed them all the way down to New York City. I'm like, he goes, and then when we stopped, like these like guys got out and ran down to our car and like was yelling at us. They were really angry. I go, yeah, you goddamn psycho. You followed them from Boston all the way down to New York? What did you think they were gonna, what did you think they thought? I just wanted to say hello. And I'm like, dude, man, you're in your own private Idaho over there, man. That is some stupid shit. Yeah, no. He gave you a show. He already did everything. You already got what you paid for. He doesn't owe you like hanging out and saying hello. And you driving from Boston all the way down to friggin' New York is some crazy stalker shit. He was like, I mean, I don't know. I thought he didn't know. No, what are you talking about? It's like, oh my God. Dude, you can't be that freaking stupid. But he was. He was that stupid. They were so angry. Oh, really? Oh, were they? Like, you're driving from Boston to downtown New York? What do you think they freaking thought, you friggin' maniac? Oh. So, I was always I kind of regret, Speaker and I were thinking about going for his last album release, going down to New York, and take the train down and see him at Sam Ash. But the weather was, are they getting rain? Are they getting snow? It was like all over the place. And I said, do we really want to stand outside in a cold rain or a cold snow? But the weather turned out being fine. We should have just gone. It would have been pricey, though. You had to buy the record, and you had to get it, and you pick it up there. And, the train wouldn't have been cheap. It would have been $150, $200 round-trip train ticket. But, we probably should have gone. And I think Speaker said at the time, he's like, he's not getting any younger. He's like, I feel like he's getting pretty frail. And boy, that was prescient, because it turned out to be true. He wasn't, doing well, and his health was deteriorating. And when I heard, so how I found out about his passing was, Bobby texted me, Bobby from the Guitar Fret Zone. He's like, hey, he goes, I'm hearing that Ace might have died. I went right to TMZ. I go, nope, because it's not reported on TMZ. And if it's not reported on TMZ, it probably didn't happen, because TMZ, they are the clarion of death. And it will, trust me, it will be on there. They will be the first to know. So I'm checking it. I'm refreshing it. I said, no, I'm not seeing anything. We cut to maybe 20 minutes later. He goes, hey, they just updated with a story that he's in. He's like on life support. So I refreshed the page, and sure enough, there was a story. Ace Frehley on life support. Ace Frehley on a ventilator. Ace Frehley had a bad fall and hit his head, and he's sort of like in a coma, and he's only alive because they have a ventilator keeping him alive. So I was like, oh man, well that doesn't sound good. And the family was just deciding about, how and when what to do about the, taking him off the ventilator. And a lot of times there's a lot of rules around that. You have to have so many physicians sort of like sign off and say, in my professional opinion, the patient won't recover, and the removal of the ventilator will, cease their organ function. And, there's a very clinical sort of breakdown that they probably have to go through before they get the okay to do that. But a lot of people have, what's known as a living will. And it's not binding in a lot of states. It's just sort of, takes the burden off of the family. But it basically says, listen, if I'm in a real tough shape, and at least like 3 physicians say, there's no way this dude's coming back, then don't keep me, alive because you have life-sustaining technology. I don't want to live like that indefinitely. I want you to take me off of that. That's actually pretty common out there that you see, those kind of that paper. Now, a lot of states that's not binding. They can't force the doctor, but it basically takes the burden off the family to make that decision. They say, well, that is what he or she wanted, and so it makes it easier to make the decision because they have it right there in black and white. I don't want to, sit there on a mechanical lung indefinitely. That doesn't seem like much of a life, So, I think they went through that and then they finally took it off. And I was refreshing that page like every 5 or 10 minutes, and I finally refreshed it and it said Ace Frehley dead at 74. I said, oh man, you could just see that coming. So, that's when I said, you know what, I'm just going to go over and just shoot a quick video and say, because, man, Ace, along with Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Angus Young, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, those were sort of like that's, the stable of guitar players that really influenced me. Mateus Yubbs and, who else? All in that era, that those 80s shred guys, Jakey Lee, but absolutely Ace. He was just, like I said, that solo in Shock Me sort of was like an eye-opener. Just like Eruption was an eye-opener the first time I heard it. I sort of had that same, like, the hell is this? I'm having trouble even envisioning this when I heard, because it was just so good. So fast. I never really heard a guitar player play that fast, quite like that, So, I'm a notary, have to do the DNR forms, yeah. Think Ace's guitar will go on the casket? I don't know, probably not. It's probably just going to be, it's going to go the way of Jeff Beck's equipment. That's what happens with all these estates. It just gets sold off, right? It's going to show up in someone's very expensive collection in Aspen. That's good coffee. So, yeah, it's just such a bummer to hear that he had passed away. And again, the regret not seeing. He's the only member. Again, I've seen Kiss with Tommy Thayer. I've seen him with Bruce Kulick. I've seen him with Vinnie Vincent. The only guitar player I've never seen in friggin' Kiss is Ace Frehley. And what was such a bummer is that when they came around in '96, and my God, I was just loving their appearance on MTV's Unplugged. I just thought that was such. Now I know it's heavily edited, and there's, if you go and look at it's not nearly as flawless as it comes across. Right? It's heavily edited. But still, I got the chills when they brought out Ace and did 2000 Man and brought out and you could I was like, oh, they're getting back together. They're getting back together. And at that time, I was so friggin' broke. And those tickets, well, they weren't crazy like ticket prices are crazy now. Ticket prices had already gone out of like the $20 to $30 range and already up to the $150 to $200 range. Now, today they'd probably be $450, but at the time, they were just a simple $100 to $150, and I just didn't have the money. And I was so bummed I didn't go see Kiss. So if you ever saw Kiss in the OG band before 75 or 74 through 79, those first 5 years, let me know in the chat. And if you got to see them when they in the reunion from 96 to, is it 99? When does Peter leave? I think Peter leaves first and then Paul goes. Then Ace goes. Or did Ace go first and then Peter left? I forget the order of leaving on the second round. But, yeah. I had 2 opportunities to see the OG band. A lot of my friends saw them in 79 on the Dynasty tour, and I just did not go, and I was so bummed. I should have just gone, but I wound up going to see, instead of them, I saw AC/DC. Just not a bad act to see. Saw Kiss in 77, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, wow, that's really good. 79, Cow Palace, yeah. Yeah, tickets were $750 in 77. Yeah, I told you my driving instructor saw the Beatles at Shea Stadium, and they paid scalpers $10 a ticket, and the face value was $2.50 a ticket. He goes, I thought my parents were going to lose their mind. Because my mother was in tears. Because, how could you pay $10? $10? What are you, crazy? That's a month's salary. Yeah, started 77 before Kiss show. Started people in the audience who dressed like Kiss. Oh yeah, sure, lighting off a few M80s. Oh my God, at the Monsters of Rock, some of my friends brought M80s and shot them off, and the state police were on it. Oh my God, they were going through that crowd with some serious scowls on those faces. Man. Saw them in 78 during the Great Snow Blizzard in Detroit. Wow, we had a big blizzard here in 78, in February of 78. Pushed the car to the center, yeah. Saw the Kiss Dynasty's tour in 79 and the reunion tour in 97. Dude, I could have been there. I could have been a contender. No, nothing. I didn't get to see them. I mean, I saw them. I've seen them like a half dozen times. But I saw them 4 times without makeup and twice with makeup. Once in 83 with Vinnie Vincent, and once in 2012 with the final lineup. Cat Stevens 4th row, $5,800. Well, it's good if you can afford it. $5,800. You can thank the Eagles for that. The Eagles were outraged to find out that when they had their reunion tour, that people were scalping their $50 tickets for $500, and they go, so why aren't we just charging $500 if that's what the market will bear? Welcome to your golden circle. Saw them in 97 in Providence. Yeah, that would have been one of my close ones at Providence. Yeah, and I thought they played the Garden too, maybe. Oh God, I was just sick. That wasn't at any of those shows. Reunion tour in 96. Yeah. They say, all accounts, that reunion tour was pretty badass. And it was the 77 outfits, right? The Love Gun outfits, which a lot of people think are the quintessential. Let's look at the posters. When I tell you my room in 1978 was absolutely covered wall to wall. There wasn't a bare spot to be found. It was a study in, fitting area and filling areas up, right? Let's go to the eBay. Hold on. And let's go for it. Let me do the coin. Here we go. Well, none of those are right. Yeah, these guys are dreamers, though. Here's a good one. Let me pull that one out. Let me pull this. Don't look at the prices; they're stupid. But hold on. Did I get? No. Hold on. I'll get one of these. It's signed. Who's trying to get crazy money? Let me see if I can find some more here. Oh yeah, there you go. There's a classic. There's a no, not that. This one had that one. I might have had this one. Yep, that one. That one. The money I spent on posters. When I tell you the money I friggin' spent on posters. That I had that one. I had this one. Hold on, we're getting there. I'll just run right through them. That might be a good way to start. I think I had, no, that's the puzzle. And then I didn't have that. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. Let's go through and take, no, that's a centerfold. I remember, but that's not it. I'm looking for, there was one other Mylar. I found one of the Mylars, but I had more than one Mylar. And I'm trying to find if they have the second Mylar poster. And that one might be pretty rare, because I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, this is probably a good selection to start. Here we go. Here we go. Let's start out with this one. You remember this one? That's a Subway poster. I totally had that poster. It's an oversized poster, so it's larger than your standard size. It's an oversized Subway poster. I totally had that friggin' poster right there. These guys all want stupid money. You can buy this poster right now for $200, $540. This guy's a dreamer, but he's got good images. It's signed. That's why he wants so much. But I totally had that. I had all the individual Aquarium series posters. I had that one. I have this one somewhere. I think I have that one rolled up in a tube somewhere. The Paul one. And then, of course, the Gene one. This one's signed, but mine, of course, wasn't signed. But these guys want stupid money. But I had that poster. The Peter one. Again, he's got it signed. I don't need a signed poster. But I had that one. Peter with the mic singing Beth. And, of course, this one. That is like the creme de la creme of the friggin' posters, right? Remember that one? Oh, that was it. Who didn't have that one? I had that. That poster, I swear, they were $2.50 down at the Booksmith. This one, but that's not the right one. This is like a stupid pen. But you remember that poster, right? The 1776 poster. This one, the Mylar one, I had this poster. Mylar poster. this is like I think a promo poster for the Mylar posters. I had that one, Group 1 and Group 2. I had all the Mylars. I'm telling you, my collection would be worth quite a bit of money these days. I had this one. There wasn't literally an inch of space on my wall. I was like basically like a teenage Swiftie, but for Kiss. I think at the time I probably would have been 12. Maybe 13. But I think 12, 78. I had this one. I would go down to that's an oversized, that's a Subway poster. So that's enormous. And then this one, another Subway poster. I had that one, which were the earlier years, to round out the collection. Just a collection of pictures that someone just threw up on a giant poster. I had that one. I had this one, right, which is in another one of their posters. I swear you could see I had that poster. And there it is, the Mylar. That was it. One of the Mylars right there. I had the Kiss Mylar poster. So, I mean, I had like every friggin' Kiss poster out there. I would just scrape together. All it took was, what was it? It was 10 quarters, $2.50. So that would be my, right? I'd get a little mental. I'd go like, all I need is 10 quarters, 11 with tax. And I would go and try and find I needed like 10 quarters and a dime. And if you find 10 quarters and a dime, you can go buy yourself a poster right now. Not the big ones though. The oversized ones were more money. They were more, instead of $2.50, they were more like $3.50 or $4. They were not $2.50. But all those other ones, all those standard size posters, were $2.50. And I would go and I would find the money somewhere, and my poor dad, because he was pulling all the silver coins out of his change and putting them in a jar, and I was going in there and pulling out the coins and running them down to the bookstore, turning in all his quarters and from the 40s and 50s, all the real silver. So it was unbelievable. And when I got the Kiss cards, remember the cards? When I had the cards, I would fill in any open gaps with the Kiss Kiss. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah, you don't remember these? The Kiss baseball cards. Right? So any open little nook, I'd find the Kiss cards. I'm telling you, I would spend hours moving them around to make sure I had the absolute, every inch of my room was covered in Kiss. It was like a real obsession, like a crazy obsession. But it wore off. By the time I was I guess that would be Kiss baseball cards. Or is it just Kiss cards? No, I think it's just Kiss cards. See, they want to do sometimes playing cards. Oh, wait, Kiss cards. What did that say? 1978. I was 12. Yeah. Yeah, so some people have whole boxes. See that? He's got a whole box of them. Yeah, there they are. Remember these? Oh my God. Kiss bubblegum cards. Jesus Christ, the money I spent. I mean, seriously. Oh yeah, oh Jesus. There they are. That was it. The gum sucked. Like, right? Doesn't Bart get the gum out of a baseball card and he like, or is it Millhouse, and he like cuts his cheek on it because it's so friggin' hard? I was born in 66. I was born 2 days before Phil X. Phil X is 2 days younger than me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, plenty of Kiss cards out there. Plenty of Kiss cards. Yeah, I should have gone and had Ace sign the record. I could have an autograph. It is regrettable. Because now you don't even know if you get something, if it's even real, you know. So, but yeah, Kiss, my God. You mean, you just want to talk about just a huge part of my life. And so, you know, Dynasty comes out, but really, I would say, when does Dynasty come out? Let's see, hold on. Okay, I thought so. It's released in the spring. I remember going up to Popcorn. Was it Popcorn? Speaker, what was the one across from the Gulf station? Right? Yeah, that was Popcorn, right? Had the head shop in it right when you first walked in. I walked up there and I bought on the same day Dynasty and Candio by the Cars. And I remember going home and being surprised how much I liked the Kiss album. I really kind of dug it. Yeah, Popcorn. Yeah. I remember going up to Popcorn and getting the Dynasty album. And it was, I really liked the album. And the summer goes by, and pretty much what sort of kills them, it was their like Billy Squier dancing around moment was the Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park, which you haven't seen. If you haven't seen it, that might be the worst movie ever made or close to it. Right? It's just like total Mystery Science Theater 3000 fodder. Like horrible acting, horrible script, horrible everything, and just an absolute like joke of a movie, which I can't even believe they released it. But I just think they had sunk so much money into it. It's like just put it out. But I have both the release on television, which I want to say came out in October of '79. That was the beginning of the end. Right there. That was the beginning of the end. The movie comes out. I am 13. And at age 13, we all met up the day after it came out. And go, did you see the Kiss movie last night? Yeah, I saw yeah. What'd you think? I thought it was really stupid. I was like, yeah, God, right? And this young kid who was like 10 was trying to defend it. And we were like, oh, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, no, it was pretty. And we were like, oh, right then it was. I said, no, you're a kid. Yeah, of course you're defending it because you're friggin' 10. We were 13. We were like, garbage. And that really was the beginning of the end. And then when Unmasked came out, I'm like, holy Christ, this band is really just, they're dropping like a friggin' rock. And, by the time you get to like 83, 84, I get my license in 83, and I'm hanging out with this band down in Hyde Park, and we're rehearsing up in this dude. He had a barn in his backyard, this really giant barn, and we were rehearsing up on the second floor. And he was a huge Kiss fan, but like most Kiss fans, you know, by then, you didn't talk about the fact that you were a Kiss fan. You know, something you just kept to yourself. And I remember he was like, I just got the new Kiss album, Creatures of the Night. You want to, like, go take a drive and get away from everyone and go listen to it? I was like, yes. And I remember driving around and listening to Creatures of the Night on my car stereo, which I had put, you know, some time and energy and effort into. I think I had a Blaupunkt or a Kenwood. And we were driving and listening to that quietly. Not everyone needs to know about this. And loving it. And having and talking about how much we loved that album. And how much, like, I said, I mean, don't tell anyone I told you this, but I think I really like this new Kiss album. Right? I mean, that's really where it had gotten. And they had really sort of fallen out of favor with me. And then what happened was I started working with a dude who was just, you know, practically just like he was a man-child, you know. He was just like, I don't know what was going on in that head of his, but he was like, I really love Kiss, and Kiss is so great, and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, cool. And, you know, he's the type of dude that when we went to see AC/DC, his favorite part of the show was when the cannons went off. And I was like, okay. All right. Whatever floats your boat, man. With those cannons amazing? I'm like, I mean, I guess. Now, who's that? That's Cookie Dough Cowcat. Yeah. So, I have some bad news. Cutie seems to have injured herself, and possibly severely. She's been hiding from us, but her tail is dragging behind her, and she seems to have no motion. And I think we're going to take her to the doctors on Monday or Tuesday, as soon as we can get an appointment. I think she has a broken tail. I think she broke her tail. And she's been staying away from everyone. You can see she's been licking it, which is just instinctual. You lick your wounds. And it looks like it's sort of a little blown up at the base. And completely limp. She seems to have like it's paralyzed. Like she's dragging a dead tail. So it's, you know, I really regret not. Well, we didn't want to do any harm, and they say you should wait a couple of days just to see if it's a sprain and it heals on its own, but it's not. And she's getting increasingly more frightened and staying away from us. So, we're going to, we're hopefully going to be able to take her on Monday or Tuesday at the latest and get an x-ray done. We got to see what the hell's going on in there. And then we got to be careful not, you know, you don't want to do more harm. Getting her into the carrier, you know, if she's very fragile right now, it's going to be tricky. Because I don't want to really have to, you know, it's going to, I'm already dreading it. So, I don't, cats in pain will hide. Well, her eyes have also been real big. And she's absolutely, no, she broke her tail. I don't think there's any other, or it's dislocated. But she somehow fell and hurt her tail. The only other thing is she got bit on the tail and she has an abscess. Either way, I got to go to the doctor because I've got to drain the abscess, right? Because that can happen as well. And their tail goes limp because they have an abscess, right? So she's definitely, she's definitely in some pain, Asked the desk for a tranquilizer. Well, I do, but he won't give them to me. He's like, Dad, these are only for the animals, bro. I'm like, come on, bro. Look, hook a dude up. How's my tone clamp doing? Yeah, all right. Making sure I'm tone clamping here. What's up, Chuck? Exactly, Gene's movie, Runaway. That was him, right? Wasn't it Runaway? Yeah, that's what I'm figuring. Yeah, she's injured and scared. Animals hide their injuries. It shows weakness. That's why they hide. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I really regret not taking her the other day. I called in. They're like, yeah, we can take her at like 11:20. And my wife was like, you're crazy to take her. You don't even know if it's sprained. It could just go away. I saw her tail move a little bit. And I was like, I don't know. I think we should take it. I think it's getting better. And you're crazy. And blah, 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 blah. And, it's like a sprained pinky. There's nothing they can do. And I'm like, okay. But even today, she was like, no, you should take her. I said, yeah, no shit. But now it's Saturday. We have to wait till frickin' Monday. So I really do regret just not taking her. But we'll see. Oh, yeah. Gene is Miami Vice stage. Exactly. Yeah. What was the report? I got the TPS reports. The Duncan commercial. My vet has 24-hour emergency service. Oh, I can go to the Tufts emergency. Tufts has a 24-hour emergency I can go to. But I took Buzzy there when he got bit by one of the other cats, and he was limping because he had an abscess on his side. And he was causing him pain when he stepped on his leg, so he was limping. And I said, I think he's got a broken leg. And so I took him into Tufts, and she's like, he doesn't have a broken leg, he's got an abscess, and I can drain it. I said, okay, to drain that abscess and put a cone on his head and send him out with a piece of friggin' rubber tubing hanging out of the side of him was like $450. So I've learned you can't go to that Tufts. $450. I could have gone to Wolf's office. He would have drained it for probably $150. So I was like, no, I can't go over to that Tufts. It's too expensive. It's $150 to walk in the door at that friggin' place. So I think I'm just going to go and see his regular doctor, who we love. He is really, really good. And he has been a vet friggin' forever. And, you know, he's seen it all. And I have faith that he knows what, you know, he's doing. He's got, you know, literally 40 years of experience. Yeah, exactly. That'll be $2,000. Kids, I hate to tell you, but Santa is on vacation this year. Well, we got nothing. Oh, I forget, like, let's go to... I do like the... I haven't played this in a while. It's been, you know, it's been sitting up nice and high just in case it floods. One of you cats ate 4 feet of string. It wasn't cheap surgery. We had a stray that we had picked up, stopped eating, became incredibly lethargic, and was just like in a world of hurt. And the doctor was like, this is going to be $1,000 a minimum for exploratory surgery. And so what we wound up doing was talking to the MSPCA, and they had a no-kill shelter in Quincy. And so they said, but you can't keep the cat because we don't, we'll fix the cat, and we'll do the surgery for free. You don't have to pay for it, but you don't get the cat back, because then everyone would be coming here to get free surgery for their cats. We'll keep the cat, we'll nurse the cat, and then we give the cat up for adoption. And I said, that's fine. That's fine. So we gave the cat up. The shelter took him in. And they said, yeah, we found he ate a big piece of yarn. He had a big piece of string in his intestine. It was bound up. We had to take it out. He's doing much better. And he had an infection in one of his eyes. We got that cleared up. He's doing great. And, you know, everyone's happily ever after. And we were like, great. That's great. Hey, what's up, Johnny? I do have the Yamaha here, if you want me to switch to the Yamaha. I do have it right here. You know, Yamaha official posted on the on that video. They said they really liked the video. I was like, well, that's nice. Yeah, it's a classic. Is it a 21? I think it's a 21. I'd have to look. My serial number has, you see, it's like faded. You see that? You know? But it's like 000000. It's like the number 1. It's like the first one off the line that day. Trying to think, there's another one. I can't think of the riff. I know a couple of the ones from the new album. So there's that one. It's a great riff. And But there's another one. I can't think of it. It's like... I'd have to think about it. The thing is, you can't play it or get a copyright strike. What's up, Black Jew Bear? I think it's... I got it the same year I got my... I'd have to look. I think I got it the same year I got my... Well, you know what? We can find out right now. Hold on. Ugh. I'm just gonna roll this way. I happen to have the case right here on the table. Let me open it up. I'm gonna open up the inside. Okay, here we go. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And the correct answer is October 27th, 2020. There you go. And the serial number is 0000. I love it. Now you're talking. Ugh. Let me just throw that back over there. You know, hold on. This chair, the piston is sinking. You know, this Les Paul, pretty heavy. Ah, better. There we go. All right. Get over here, you. Get over here, you maniac. So much better. It's on my legs. .0. Mr. Blutowski. Trying to think of my... Oh, how did I forget this? Chair clamp. That's the kind of the out-of-the-box thinking I need. Right? So good. What kind of pickups in these? I don't know. I feel like they're the classics or something. You know, I don't follow that. It's the Zebras, whatever those are. It's the ones without the metal covers. Something like this. What's that? From She? Great riff, you know. Or from Love Gun, right? Right? Oh. I'd have to practice it. These are all from memory. Yeah, I am. I'm playing the orange amp. Hold on. There it is. Oh, Ace. This is a Les Paul Classic. It's funny because I got it off a Guitar Center and it said it came with a case. But when it showed up, there it goes. Hear that? It was kicking in there. But when it showed up, no case. And I swear to God, they kind of scratched it up a little bit when they shipped it because they wrapped it in plastic. I was kind of pissed. So I called the dude right up. I was like, dude, the case? He's like, oh man, so sorry. He goes, we'll overnight it. And they did, to their credit. He overnighted me the case. I had the case the next day. Of course, in the case is like the certificate. You saw what I just had, you know, the serial number, like the certificate. It had like the tools that it comes with, and it had the picture from the. I was like, dude, what are you going to do with that case if it doesn't go with this guitar? It literally has a photograph of this guitar in the pouch. It's like they just, I don't know what they were thinking. So I go, dude, I think you scratched the guitar up pretty bad. I'm looking at the back of this thing, and they wound up giving me another $100 off. I said, all right. How much mileage will I get out of the orange camp gag? Every last drop of orange juice. I think I paid $1,600. I think it was probably with the tax and the shipping. I want to say it was something like $1,519 or like $1,529. And then you have to add the tax and the shipping. The shipping's like $23. And tax is 6.25%. So, yeah, about $1,600. That sounds about right. I got it right around the... You know what? I was waiting to get an SG, and they were literally out of stock. Back ordered. Couldn't get an SG. And so I bought this in the interim. Waiting for the SG stock. And then, of course, as soon as I got this, like literally 3 or 4 weeks later, the SGs came in and I wound up getting an SG. How about I run into me at Kelly's Roast Beef at Revere? Well, the probability is high. Actually, no. If I was going to be where's my closest one? It used to be Framingham, but I think the closest one is probably Dedham now. Back scratcher? That's not a back scratcher right there. That is a kitty toy. It's like a fishing rod with a line and like a toy on the end of it. Are you still checking out houses? We are. Here's the latest house, okay? And just know it comes with a side of pretentiousness. My wife was looking at 1 Buffington Road in Worthington. It's like literally the most historic house in the town, and it's like, you know, the John Carter house or some stupid, right? It's literally, you know, it's like, you know, but it was 1 Buffington Road in Worthington. I was like, ah, yes, of course. We'll stay at the Buffington Road in Worthington. And we're not moving for at least 5 years, but we like to look at houses and think of like what we could get. And look at all the crazy I feel like this thing is making, like it's picking something up here. What are you doing? There we go. Yeah, Trace Nudie, right? It's a town of 1,100 people. You know, the town I live in now is like 38,000. So it'd be a lot fewer people, that's for sure. Exactly. Do you have any Grey Poupon? Exactly. It's Snobsworth Castle. It's across from the Worthington Historical Society and kitty corner to the Worthington Library. Then, of course, you look at the Worthington Library and it's like in this like tiny Cape house. Yeah, exactly. In Puffington. Yes, we live in Worthington. Oh, yes, it's Veronica Kensington from Buffington Road in Worthington. Indeed. Oh, yes, quite. Is there a Costco nearby? No, and that's a deal breaker. No Costco, no sale. So, right next to the Rotary. Yeah, it's literally on the Rotary. That's it. That's the one. It's a good-looking house. Not going to lie, it's a pretty good-looking house. But, yeah, absolutely no. Exactly. Exactly, the Love Marshall's cranked to 11. To be honest, like that other house, you wonder if there's even a 3-prong outlet in the whole goddamn house, you know? Exactly, I need Costco tin. Yes, it's Veronica Kensington. Oh. 4 hours from the nearest Costco. Man, I couldn't live like that. Who could live in such a world? Exactly, Steve from Worthington. Got to admit, it's got a charm. Oh, it's a charmer. I might have to switch to that Yamaha because this guitar at like a little over 10 pounds is breaking my back. And this one's weight relieved. And it's still breaking my friggin' back here. I know exactly. Take the trailer, go to Costco, bulk purchases. Hey, what's up, Rob? Oh, Shector just got delivered, huh? Shector, I didn't even know her. Shector, I never even touched her. Yeah, that's awesome. Send me pics. Exactly. I'll need my rotary pedal for the gig at the Rotary. We'll start a Rotary club. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's time to switch. This guitar is breaking my back, and we've sort of done our Ace Frehley tribute. Oh my God, that's quite a beast. Oh yes. Oh. All right, shut up, you. Enough with the. There we go here. Oh, trust me, I'll get it in there in a second. Calm down. I know what I'm doing. Calm down over there. I've done it many times before. I don't know why I'm missing. This is the Shector Diamond Series. Oh, thank God, no. Oh, no. No, fat. How dare you, Shector Diamond Series. That Gibson is very heavy. That Gibson weighs a little over 10 pounds. And this is probably 3 pounds lighter. This feels like it's in the 7s. Do you even lift, bro? Apparently not. This reminds me why I don't play my LP. Yeah, that's why I play the SG more. It's more, it's definitely easier on the back. No, that LP, Jesus, I'm gonna need an Advil. Like this is an old bit. This back is it's a little tricky. It's an Omen Elite with black winter pickups and Grover's a very burled top. Yeah, no, it looked pretty awesome. Yeah, some say you just might see a Shector here very soon. Not this week's Guitar of the Week, but maybe not even next week's Guitar of the Week, but soon enough. I gotta check the tuning on this. I gotta check my tuning. My tuner. Gotta tune. Welcome to the tuning. That's actually not bad. That's pretty good. That's a touch flat, but not really. That's a little sharp. That's a little flat. You got one that's a little sharp, and the one next to it is a little flat. And you can really hear the... There you go. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, that works. That'll work. All right, we're back to my live streaming chat here. Oh, that's not it. Where is it? Right there. Current occupants of the aquarium, mostly oxygen and nitrogen. We took the aquarium offline, and we're looking to get rid of it. The problem is, and I told my wife this, you got such a big tank that now it's a goddamn project to move it. It's unwieldy. If we had the old tank, I could have already wheeled it out of the, two guys can easily lift it and move it. This tank is so ungodly enormous and so ridiculously large, and it uses half-inch glass that I don't know how you're going to get this thing out of here other than with a sledgehammer. So we'll see. But I just think they went so big that, it becomes almost impossible to sell. My cat's doing, he is getting thinner. He's got an appointment soon. I think my other cat has a broken tail. She's got to go Monday, first thing. I also got to build a PC this week. And you know who reached out to me out of the blue? K Multimedia. And they're going to make me part of some product launch coming up. I suspect it's Tonex. It's going to be, they're sort of tight-lipped on what it is, but it's going to be a hardware or software product. And I suspect it's Tonex related. So they asked me if I'd wanted to be part of the next launch, and I said sure. So I don't really have any details, but I'll be on that. I'll be on your screen the same day everyone else is on your screen with one of those launch dates. How many gallon tank is it? 120. Oldest cat has a thyroid issue that led to a lot of weight loss. I think that's what he has. We had another cat that was the same way. Buffy, she had really lost a ton of weight. And they were like, oh no, they do a blood test. And they're like, no, her thyroid's off the charts. And so, yeah, that narrows it down exactly. You just updated Windows 10 to 11. I actually forced Windows 11 on an old Dell just for proof of concept. I wanted to see if I could do it, and of course I did. In fact, I did it with the new 25H2, which has like a lot more lockdowns on it, just to see if I could do it, and I could, and I did it, and I loaded it up, and I didn't have to use how they get around it now is you have to use the British build. You have to use the international and set it to British English, because Brits aren't forced to, because of European Union and Brit rules. So they don't, and if you're in Europe, they don't have the same requirements as they do in the US. So you use that, and then you just have to go through and change all the regions in the system from UK to US, and you're done. So it is a little annoying. You have to go through that, but there are ways around it. And I loaded that up on a 2015, a 10-year-old laptop that doesn't have a TP module. Doesn't have a TPM, and it doesn't have a. It's way out of spec, but. I was like, no, I think I got this. I think I got this. And I did. Exactly, it's 1 gallon too many. I'm trying to think of some more. Did Ace, right? Yeah, that's what I use too. I use Rufus. So here's the problem. If you have a Windows ISO, they unsigned the UEFI BIOS. So when you go to burn it with Rufus, they check their certificate and they say, hey, this certificate is no longer approved. And therefore, when you burn the UEFI BIOS on this, it's not going to work in a system that has secure boot enabled. So, and like pretty much every PC has secure boot enabled. Even that 2015 Dell had secure boot enabled. So like if you have secure boot enabled, it may never work for you. So they're like, you're going to have to get it. And so I already had a stick from back in January that is all set. And I've cloned it a few times, and I can just always use that. But if you're using the latest one and you download the latest one, because you can't just burn an ISO any longer. I have that ISO, and I have an ISO from like July. Both of them, they got rid of, they retracted the friggin' certificate. So when Rufus goes to, install it, it can't, because there's no certificate to go along with it. And sure enough, I used Rufus to download the 25H2, and it downloaded the international one, did all its magic. I just checked every box, did all its magic, and I was good to go. And it loaded right up on that 2015. Oh, thank you, Gary. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. What brand of guitar is most likely to become a classic in years to come? I think Vola. It's a real quality product, and they're really doing well. I mean, you already have brands like Ibanez, and it's easy to say, Kramer's always these brands have been around for a long time. I'm trying to think of like a new brand. Kiesel, right? Another one. Absolutely. I would say Badlands, but Badlands, they're not in the same numbers. They're not doing thousands of guitars. So it's a that's more of a boutique thing. Did Cowcat just go? Oh yeah. That's a Cookie Dough Cowcat butt. But Vola's got serious high quality, and I just love their stuff. I could see them becoming long-term, classic guitars. Absolutely. You betting on Esteban? Steve, 10 years for Windows 10 is a good run. Oh, yeah. Now, listen, people complained when we dumped Windows 7, but it's going to happen. Yeah, the V. I saw that. You notice that he had to... So, if you notice, he made the top asymmetrical, right? The part near the neck is asymmetrical, and the bottom is pretty pointy. That's the anti-Gibson. That's Gibson. Don't send us a cease and desist, right? That's to protect yourself, because it's tough to do a V. You can't be too close to Gibson, or they will send you a cease and desist. I know people are complaining about upgrades since 3.1. Yeah, pretty much. People hated it when we went when they got rid of the biggest one, and probably the absolute most installed operating system was Windows XP. Windows XP was, pretty good. Do I give online guitar lessons? I don't. I should do more with lessons on here. They say you actually get a lot more subscribers if you do lessons, because they come back for more lessons. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to start doing some lessons. Put it on my 2026 agenda. Oh, God. My shoulder's still hurting from that friggin' LP. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Too bad Mayback can't come to U.S. market because of trademarks. Yeah, definitely, they'd definitely be in trouble here. Speaking of Mayback, I was driving in a pretty wealthy area around here, and a dude drove by me in a Mayback. Good looking guitar car. You could hear it coming. Thing. It was crazy. It's like, oh, I think that was a Mayback right there. Like, nice. All right, the Greg Kinn song. Yes, it was a girl. You have a pinched nerve in your neck, man. I feel like I'm getting one right now with this. This is actually a lot lighter than that, but it's still not super light. Yeah, right. That's Rick Springfield. Oh, who's this? What's this? Who that? Oh. Do I have my phone? I don't. My phone's over there. I'm getting spalted maple images. Trying to think of more Kiss tunes. Oh yeah, the breakup song. That's all right. A lot of the ones I know are of later Kiss songs, and I'm just trying to... Oh, man. Yeah, tonight went real fast. Yeah, Colin, Dr. Love. That was such a great tune. And Love Gun, you know. That's a great one, too. And then... yeah, Kiss did cover Argent's God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which I didn't even realize was a cover. You know, just like at first I didn't realize 2000 Man was a cover. I was like, this is probably the best tune Ace has ever written. Oh, it's a cover. Oh, well. 10,000 Years is a really good solo. The solo for Shock Me is really good. You know, really, it's a lot more going on there than you realize. People are coming out and doing tributes to Ace, but Kayla Kent did one for the Shock Me solo, and she's pretty accurate on it. And you realize just what's going on there. There's a flurry of notes going on there. It's he's got some pretty serious chops going in that tune, big time. Yeah, well, Ace wasn't in the band when that tune came out. Of course he didn't play on God Gave Rock and Roll to You. He was long out of the band by then. By at least, 8 years? 6 years? Oh, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we got to get you over here. I got to get you up that ladder. Get that friggin' camera in place before it gets too cold. Yeah, Parasite. Was Ace playing with them for Creatures of the Night? I don't know. There's so much weird stuff about that because I remember who was it? Oh God, I can't think of his name. He's a judge in America's Got Talent. He's got who doesn't have a podcast? My friggin' cats have podcasts. I can think of his name, but I can't think of his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. You know that guy, the comedian that was on America's Got Talent? He's one of the judges. Oh, geez, I can't. Someone will remember, and they'll say in the comments here. Yeah, the bald guy. Yeah, Howie Mandel. So Howie Mandel has a podcast, and he has Paul Stanley on. And so he's talking to Paul Stanley, and he goes, when you were playing, I think it was like I Love It Loud, which is on Creatures, right? He goes, he was saying something about like who really played on that? And Paul won't answer. Paul goes, I think you should ask Gene that question. Right? So there's all no one was more about optics and subterfuge than Kiss. They really were. Who knows who played on a lot of that stuff? I think it was mainly the guys, but up and until those late 70s. Then I think progressively, starting with that fourth side of the Kiss Alive 2 album, now you've got Bob Kulick playing on stuff, you've got Bruce Kulick playing on stuff. They're bringing in, I think Anton Fig is playing, right? Drums on some stuff. They're bringing in all these other studio cats to like start doing that stuff. And they're very coy about who plays what. You know, I mean, clearly those solos were played by Ace. I mean, they're his friggin' solos. And, you know, you got to give Ace credit. He wrote memorable solos, and then he recreated them. They were really like little mini operettas, you know, operettas, and in the greater scheme of things. And that was the downside to Vinnie Vincent and Mark St. John. They'd go out there and do this flashy solo, and then when it came time to play again, they just improvised some other flashy solo. And that drove Gene up a friggin' wall. He's like, why don't you just write a solo that you can remember and play again? Which is why I think they went with Bruce Kulick, because he could do that. He could come up with memorable solos and then be able to recreate them on a regular basis. Not being able to play the same solo twice, drove Gene up a friggin' wall. He did not like that one bit. He's like, now you're just coming out here and winging it. And it was kind of true, but, you know, he was just so used to Ace coming up with a solo, and then that was the friggin' solo. I was watching him play King of the Nighttime World on the 79 tour, and man, Ace sounded friggin' really good. I mean, really friggin' good. His playing was that was 79, you know, and man, really, really good playing on that. Gene and Paul had issues. Well, the greatest ever is the appearance on the Tom Snyder Show. And Gene and Paul both have a stick up their ass. And Ace is a kind of lit and couldn't give two shits. And like I said, they're all about optics. So they go on there and they want to put forward this very serious. Paul is a serious guy. He doesn't have a humorous bone in his fucking body. And same with Gene. These are very serious business people that see this as a way to promote their product. And Ace is on there going, the drum rise would break. It was on a goddamn bicycle chain. And it would stop, you know, and like giving them like behind the scenes. And of course, the producers and Tom zone right in on the most interesting member. These guys are giving us stock politician answers, and one guy's giving us the real deal, and they zoom right in on him. And you can just see Peter sitting there going like laughing his ass off, because he's like, I'm not even going to get in this. I don't have to. And the seething, the absolute seething by Gene and Paul. Paul's trying, he's trying to rescue it. It is the best. It is the absolute best. And, you know, again, it just showed that they couldn't take them. They took themselves way too seriously. They're one of those hardos that can't, like relax and laugh at this situation and say, oh yeah, you know what? We're very lucky. It was some tough time. No. Gene and Paul, they are 100% all about optics, and they're total corporatists. They're all like, you know, we have a story to tell. We have a certain, get with the talking points. And Ace was having none of it. It's the friggin' best. It is the best. Anyway. All right, guys. I know exactly. You're four grown men in goddamn space and outfits. In crazy, wacky outfits. Could you have a little bit of humor about it? But they couldn't. They really couldn't. You see it in sports all the time. Guys they just have no sense of humor. None. Just total hardos. It's like, oh, whatever, bro. Anyway. All right, dudes. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Rest in peace, Ace Frehley. You will be missed. And there you have it. I will check out Monday's. I already shot Monday's guitar, and it's a good one. It's a real good one. So check that out on Monday. And there you go. We will do it all again in a week. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Super extra special thanks to anyone who contributed. I always appreciate that. And of course, Brofish to the Mod Squad. Brofish. Hashtag Brofish. Hashtag Mod Squad. Hashtag Ben Coombs at Christmas. All right. You guys have a wonderful week. I will see you all in a week, and we will do it all over again. All right. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time.